Hello, welcome back to our show. No, you are not imagining things. There are only two of us this week. First of all, special mention prayers to Demetrius and his mother. Some emergency came up, so that's why we're out of him, unfortunately. Mr. Mike, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, and listen, we got the two best looking brothers that are a part of the show. That we get to rock out.
There's not two of you. It's just you. There's only one. I know you got glasses, so I know you like seeing two of everything, but it's just you.
Well, I mean, it's double trouble. You feel me? That's what it is, baby.
All right. This is the last weekend before baseball starts. So with that in mind, figured why not take a look at the past and see what we could have in store for the future, because everything we're going to talk about is all personal favorites and all ideas of what was the best of history in baseball. It all have to happen some year. You could have a new best moment this next year. The fact that we're playing it during a pandemic, that's good enough. That's something big enough. There's going to be regular season baseball in spring for the first time in 2 years. That's going to be a new historical moment for baseball history for sure. We're going to start off with our top picks for what we think the 5 best moments in baseball history, period, are. This could be anything. This is not personal opinions of favorite moments. This is objectively, with some personal influence on the rankings probably, what are the 5 best moments in baseball history. Mr. Edwards, the starting goes to you, sir.
Well, thank you, kind gentlemen. So I sat with this list a little bit because when you talk about best moments in history, it's really tough because, as you know, there's so many moments that we haven't seen or lived to see within our very own eyes. I mean, the Hank Aaron's, the Babe Ruths, all of the historical players of the world, the Lou Gehrig's, Jackie Robinson. It's just the game of baseball spans across decades and centuries to the where a lot of people that would view golden ages of the past aren't here to tell those stories, and history has to sort of speak for itself in that realm. But let's get right into the list. For my 5 in history, at number 5, I'm going to come in with the Cubs championship, breaking that 100-plus year-long drought for a city that was starving for a championship for the first time in general since the Jordan era, since '98, right? The Chicago Cubs have always been viewed as the historical big brother of Chicago. I think everybody knows who the White Sox are. Obviously, their lineage speaks for itself as well, but there's something different, similar to how when the Yankees win in New York, how when the Cubs win in Chicago, something just feels good over there in that city. Us being 27 years of age, having to see a Cubs championship, when there's been so many players that have not won championships with that organization. The Ernie Bankses, the Sammy Sosas of the world. So that's just me. Number 4, I'm going to go with Mariano Rivera breaking the saves record on September 19th, 2011, passing the great Trevor Hoffman to obtain that saves record, only validated furthermore, because I think it was pretty much a consensus at that point that Mariano Rivera, best closer of all time. And so for that to be a Yankee, I think that just felt good for New York in general. Number 3, and I know you're going to like this one. In my top 5 is Madison Bumgarner's 2014 postseason. I mean, you just rub your hands and think of how dominant this man once was. Most strikeouts by a pitcher in a single postseason ever, with 45 strikeouts. Lowest career walks and hits per innings pitched in a single World Series, with .476 in 21 innings pitched back in 2014. And when you not only look at the amount of innings pitched as well, with 52 and a half, most ever in a single postseason, you combine all of what I just said, defensively, if you will, from a pitcher, with the offense. I mean, the most grand slams by a pitcher in a single postseason in history, with 2 grand slams. The most home runs hit by a pitcher on opening day 3 years later. So we know what goes on with him. But speaking to 14 in particular, NLCS MVP, World Series MVP, Madison Bumgarner for me. That's what comes in at number 3. Number 2, I got to give it to the great Hank Aaron, the late great Hank Aaron, for breaking the home run record. I think that, as everybody knows, I'm a Barry Bonds fan, but a lot of people view Hank Aaron as the true home run king. I'm not going to speak on why. I'm just going to say I got something to say about that later on. But you cannot ignore history when history is right in front of you. Hank Aaron, I think, is one of the players that you and I both agree we wish we would have lived to see play. Just the aura of Hank Aaron when people would speak about him, I think that's just self-explanatory and personally in my top 5. And then lastly, I got to break the color barrier here. Jackie Robinson being the first black man to ever play in the major leagues with the Brooklyn Dodgers at that point, and later the LA Dodgers. Beautiful sight to see. Self-explanatory in itself. He's a winner. He's a champion. And had it not been for Jackie Robinson paving the way that he did, you wouldn't see the diversity in the game that you do today. So got to give it to the great.
Absolutely. Well, I'll start off our top pick is the same. Jackie Robinson playing and finally understanding that the Negro League should not be a thing. It should be one Major League Baseball, everybody playing. I think that is unquestionably the top moment. Number 2 for me, on a similar note, is Mike Piazza's home run, the first game the Mets played after 9/11. We're all New Yorkers. It's a little bit of a personal opinion putting it up at number 2, but for New York, it was a huge deal. It was a big moment. The fact it was against the Braves made it a little bit sweeter for Met fans.
Thanks.
So that's my pick for number 2. Number 3 now, I'm going to probably irritate Mr. Edwards a little bit here, like he irritated me with Madison Bumgarner. My pick is not the Cubs winning the World Series. My pick is the Red Sox winning their first World Series, because not only did they win the World Series after 88 years, they came back from 3 games down to none against the Yankees in the ALCS. The bloody sock, David Ortiz twice, Dave Roberts stolen base, Johnny Damon's grand slam. It burns me a little because I was a Yankee fan back then, hard as it is to believe as I'm wearing an Oakland jersey. But it was one of those days. It was just one of those things. And unfortunately, I was there to watch Alex Rodriguez smack the glove of Bronson Arroyo. And for the first time ever, I think a call was overturned after basically all the umps watched the replay on the big board. Which is why there was so much garbage all over the field.
Wow.
It was not a legal replay. They just kept showing it on the board, and we all saw the umps looking up as they were having their conference. We all saw 1 or 2 of them taking a glance and looking. But it is what it is. It was unfortunately the right call. Just a little irritating that it had to happen like that. Number 4, it's a tie here because they both did the same thing in a way. Don Larson's perfect game in the World Series. Roy Halladay's no-hitter in the NLDS. Only 2 ever to have no-hitters in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them, Roy Halladay is a Hall of Famer. Just got his jersey, actually, the other day. So
that's a good jersey to have.
Should be wearing Roy Halladay right now, but I was going with the green theme today as a leprechaun. So, and then number 5, a personal favorite for me in one way, but also the fact that it was just one of the biggest days in history. The game right behind me is only one of those moments, but game 162 of 2011, you had not only the Orioles down in the 9th inning and take the lead and win it in the bottom of the 9th against Jonathan Papelbon. A couple of minutes later, have Evan Longoria hit a walk-off home run to send the Rays to the playoffs over the Red Sox after being down 9 games at the start of September. It was a 9-game comeback for them. But more importantly, on that day, you had the NL Central decided, you had the NL East decided, you had home field advantage decided for both leagues, and perhaps nothing more important than the St. Louis Cardinals making the comeback from 9.5 games behind the Braves for the second wild card, because they rode that momentum straight through to the World Series, where we saw one of the greatest moments of postseason history. Huge season for both the Rays and for the St. Louis Cardinals, who made the postseason and won the World Series. We will be back again tomorrow with probably more discussion because we're going to get with personal favorites of stuff. So there's going to be some interesting discussion, I'm sure, at some point during the week. Come back, watch us argue perhaps, or see what our favorite moments are. Either way, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.